Hello, I'm Jay. Welcome. I'm using this as a microphone. I hope it works. Or else I'm just gonna film this whole video and have no sound. That's okay. Okay, so can you tell I've never used a microphone before, so I'm sorry if this is in the way. It is my earbud. Okay. So, I'm gonna be going over my read books from December and my January TBR. And I apologize if I'm all over the place or looking this way. It's because I'm not used to having to read a script. So here we are. My first book of the month was Crimson Shore by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. It is the 15th book in the Pendergast series. I love that series. You should read it. I recommend that whole series to anybody. Also, there won't be any spoilers for any of these books. I'm not going to do that. Y'all don't have to worry. So, Crimson Shore follows FBI Special Agent Pendergast and his ward, Constance Green, as they go to a New England town because a man came to them and said that his wine was stolen and he wants them to investigate. So they go to this New England town. I can't remember exactly what state it's in. It might be in Maine, something near there. Anyway, they go there and realize that it's not just the only crime that's been committed. There's that have happened also, and it's really stressful. It's a really good book. I'd recommend it to anyone. I gave it 5 stars, and honestly, I think it's one of the best Pendergast books I've read so far. Next, I read The Obsidian Chamber, which is another Pendergast book by the same authors. That one is the 16th book. I can't say much about this book without spoiling it. You kind of have to read the rest of the series before you know what's going on in this one. But basically, there's a possible kidnapping, a chase all around the world, and even a possible betrayal. I rated this 4 stars. I really like this book. I like all the Pendergast books, so, I mean. The next book, I'm a little embarrassed to say that I read. Just a little bit. Well, no, a little more embarrassed than that. It's called Just a Bit Twisted by Alessandra Hazard. I would not recommend this to anyone. I gave it 1 star. I barely finished it. I was skipping through it because it was so bad. I read it on Kindle. That's the only reason I read it, because it was free. That's the only reason. The relationship is toxic and creepy. I didn't like it. I wouldn't recommend this. I read it in 1 day, though. Next, I read A Modest Proposal for an English class. I gave it 4 stars. It's the second time I've read it. I mean, it's a classic. I like it. I think it's funny considering I don't read classics much, but I enjoyed it. Next, I read The Enlightenment of Bees by Rachel Linden. I've been trying to branch out in the genres I read. Normally I just read like mystery or thriller or sci-fi, but this is like a romance. I think it's literary fiction. I think so. Basically, it follows this woman who's just been broken up with by her fiancé of 7 years. She joins a humanitarian group, and then she's supposed to go to India, Thailand, and Mexico. But it turns out there's a refugee situation in Europe, and her group is called to help out. And she realizes how fortunate and lucky she is to be born like a privileged white girl in the United States. So it's really interesting. It deals with some heavy topics, but I would look up the trigger warnings. I gave it 3.25 stars. It's good. The next book I read is called Tyrannosaur Canyon by Douglas Preston. And I wasn't exactly sure how to say everything that happened, so I'm gonna read what the Goodreads summary is. So, a moon rock missing for 30 years. 5 buckets of blood-soaked sand found in a New Mexico canyon. A scientist with ambition enough to kill. A monk who will redeem the world. A dark agency with a deadly mission. The greatest scientific discovery of all time. What firebolt from the galactic dark shattered the Earth eons ago, and now it hides in that remote cleft in the southwest US known as Tyrannosaur Canyon. I gave it 3.5 stars, not 5 stars. It was good. It was definitely good. And I'm probably going to read the rest of the series eventually. It's not one of my top priorities. I like the way this guy writes. I mean, he's my favorite author, so I gotta read his works. But I would look up the trigger warnings before reading it. Next, I read City of Endless Night, which, again, is a Pendergast novel. This one was wild. It threw me for an absolute loop. And it's about these, like, prominent members of society who are murdered. And it follows a journalist, Pendergast, and an NYPD cop who we've met earlier in the series named Vincent DaGosta. DaGosta and Pendergast are kind of working together, trying to find out theories, but their theory keeps switching. And the journalist, Bryce Harriman, it talks about his own discoveries of theories and how he handled it. It's very stressful at the end. I was scared that, I was very scared. It's really good. I gave it 4.75 stars. Would recommend. The next book I read, the second to last book in December, is Under the Surface by Diana Urban. I'm sorry, I'm not sure which one it is. This book was insane. It's about these 4 kids who were on a class trip who go down into the catacombs of Paris with a guy, they call it, at least in the book, they call it a cataphile. I guess it's just people who explore the catacombs. And so they get lost in the catacombs. They get lost, and a group of people start to chase them and try to them. It was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars. And my last book of 2024 was The Ministry of Time. I got this book from Christmas from my mom. Thank you, Mom. It's pretty popular on TikTok. It's a mix between literary fiction, romance, and sci-fi. There's a plot twist at the end that's really good. Basically, the British government has figured out how to time travel. And to test it out, they go back in history and take some people who are about to die and put them into the current year. And to acclimate them to modern society, a person who worked for the Ministry of Time would live with them for, I think it's like over a year. It's a really sweet book. I don't know if sweet is the word I would use. Okay, normally the books I read are very stressful and I'm like heart pounding, like tense at the edge of my seat the whole time. I found myself smiling during this book. I don't smile a lot during my books because I'm normally so stressed out because it's a mystery or a thriller. But I really, really, really like this book. I'm gonna get my mom to read it. It is a little smutty. I did not expect that. That's a warning. If you don't like smut, you can skip it, but normally I don't read any smut except Just a Bit Twisted, apparently. But I did feel like the smut was essential to the story, though. It's not just like random, weird, gross, like unnecessary. I felt like it was actually a part of the story. So those are all the books I read in December. I read 9 books that December. I think that was pretty good. And next I'm going into my January TBR. Okay, so I've already read 1 book this January. I read Aster by Anderson Cooper and Catherine Howe. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was really good. And right now I'm reading The Husbands. I also was gifted this for Christmas by my mother. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into my TBR. I'm literally reading this off Goodreads right now, so that's why I'm looking this way. Okay, so these are like my main, like, I want to read this as soon as possible, books. Okay, so When She Returned by Lucinda Berry. Couldn't tell you what it's about, but I want to read it. The Cartographers. I only found this book because Goodreads has the reading challenge, the main one, and it has like other challenges where they want you to read these sorts of books. And so this was on, I think it was like the fantasy one. I forget what it's called. It's by Pang Shepard. It sounded really interesting. I don't read a lot of fantasy. I try to branch out. Basically, she gets into an argument with her dad, and then her dad is found dead in his office at the New York Public Library. He has a map in his desk, and the main character investigates and finds out that the map is extremely rare and valuable, and it's the only copy left in existence. I don't know what happens. Apparently there's a dark secret, says Goodreads. I guess we'll see. I'm excited to read it. Then The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, Mistborn, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I have to hop on the Brandon Sanderson train. I have to. I feel like I'd never heard of him, and then all of a sudden everyone's just like, that's the man. He's the main guy. So now I'm just going to read his books if I like them. I hope I like them. Everyone else likes them. I also just watched a video about someone else's December reads in January TBR, and one of their reads was Five Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. Sounded interesting. I love a good mystery slash murder mystery slash thriller. I don't know what it is exactly, but it sounded really good. 2 books that I'm really excited to come out in 2025. Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. And, oh, I'm so excited for this one. I'm so excited. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I'm so excited for Hamich's Games. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry if the video was boring or short. I've never done this before. But have a good one. Happy New Year.